to become who we want to be as individuals. And at the end of the day, that's going to help us be a successful offense.
Man-to-man, one-on-one coverage because the safety rolls to Jefferson's side.
Jordan Love hit me up the night of the draft, just congratulating me, let me know it's time to work. A.J. Dillon was open arms.
Von Rock caught a ball with his thighs. We didn't even talk about that.
It was more of with his ass.
If he throws a good ball, this is a running, catching touchdown untouched.
Like, KP does like these flips after every win, and I'm like just waiting for him to do his flip.
To know that we still love each other, that's what football brings us.
Across the safety's face.
So you can tune in anywhere that you guys follow us on social media. Welcome to the Practice Squad podcast. I didn't tell Mark that I got a new intro rolled out.
It's refreshing to see a new intro video, man. I mean, I can't. The Jalen Ramsey slander.
No more Jalen Ramsey slander.
People take that in the wrong way. Like I was joking, and then you see that, and you're like, you actually think I mean that. Yeah, that was refreshing to have that not be
honestly,
that.
I would pay a lot of money just to see you run one singular route against Jalen Ramsey.
It wouldn't be fun, man. I mean, I'm up for the challenge. It would not be fun.
Show him the video beforehand and then just let it rip for sure.
Yeah, that wouldn't go well, probably. Can't imagine.
Yeah. All right. So last week of June, training camp's about 2 weeks away. So we're almost there. We just got to hang tight in this little, off-season lull we got going on. But I think we got a really awesome episode for a few different reasons. But Mark, if you want to start off by introducing our guests, and we'll just get rolling right into it.
Yeah, I mean, what do you do during the most dull part of football of the year? You get awesome guests. Last week had my dad on, which was a really cool episode. If you haven't seen that, go check that out. And then tonight we're really excited to have on my former teammate. He played at Warren De La Salle for high school, was a very high rated recruit coming out of high school, went to Michigan, played 3 seasons at Michigan with Harbaugh, with Hoke, and then transferred to Central Michigan and then had a pro career as well. And we're excited to have on quarterback Shane Morris. How you doing tonight, Shane?
Doing well. Thanks for having me, guys. I'm excited.
Of course.
Thanks for coming on.
Yeah. So, hey, just jumping right into it. I think first question we kind of want to ask about is, you got a lot of attention through your recruiting process, probably, the upper echelon of any top rated recruit during your class. What was it like kind of dealing with that? All of the, options that you had on the table, all of the people hitting you up, the pressure that kind of goes with that. And, how did you kind of carry that through, your college career as well?
Yeah. So, I leaned on a lot of people, really. It started early for me. I got my first offer from Cincinnati when I was a sophomore in high school. So, being fresh, 16 years old, just driver's license, and then, getting some attention from colleges, getting, full scholarship, kind of realizing your dreams as a kid and growing up playing football is finally kind of coming to light, and that opportunity is going to be there. As it went on, it got a little bit crazy, but I leaned on my parents. My dad was a football coach my entire life. My mother, keeping me humble, and then Coach Verska and the staff, Ron Bonin, did a great job of kind of knocking me down when I got a little bit too high, and just helped me kind of guide me through the whole process. But yeah, it was interesting. It was a lot of attention coming from a lot of different angles. A lot of different things you're being told from recruiters and colleges that at the age I'm at, I believe, a lot of it, right? And then you kind of go through it and you're starting to realize you gotta kind of take it for what it's worth when these guys are, their lives are on the line to get a guy to go to the school. Kind of a lot of them will say whatever they need to.
Sure, yeah, whispering some sweet nothings into your ear, trying to.
And they all do. They all do.
Yeah.
Shane, that leads to this, and this is one of the questions I really looked forward to asking you, because the recruiting world has changed a lot since you and I both were recruited, right? Obviously, I was a walk-on, you were a 4 or 5 star recruit, very different. But it's in today's world with NIL and what that looks like, and just seeing some of the amount of money that's being offered to kids that were just like you not too long ago. Does that almost make you like, man, I missed out on $1 million contract offer when I was 15 years old? Or are you just, do you think it could ruin the sport like college football, like the integrity of the game? Where are you at with the NIL? And do you ever think about what that would have been like? You already admitted the pressure that you had and the stress and stuff going through it without the money, but you think about now those kids are getting introduced to maybe millions of dollars at age 16. Like you said, you just got a driver's license. What do you think of the whole NIL thing?
Yeah, the whole NIL thing. I feel a little bit of it's kind of a double-edged sword, right? Like, obviously, I think you deserve to be paid for your name, your image, your likeness. Just jerseys sold, um, posters, all the licensing stuff that goes around. If the school is promoting you singularly, for the university, I think you do deserve to make money from that. I do think NIL has gotten out of control a little bit. I believe that a lot of schools are not using it for what it was created for, which is
Abusing
kind of
it,
what I
man.
was just said. But
Yeah.
a lot of it's being abused, and I guess SEC schools have been doing this for a long time, and that's
For
kind of
sure.
it's kind of known knowledge. Finding donors and dropping bags off or whatever it may be.
Cam Newton
But
got away with it. LSU
yeah.
just got in trouble with doing that for both basketball and football.
Yeah, so it's been going on for a very long time, and most people know that. And now it's, I guess it's morphed into a way that is it's legal now. So it's in that level for a lot of schools, it's just going to get a lot worse. I talked to Jared Wangler a lot. I don't know if you guys are familiar. He started the group called Valiant, which kind of oversees and runs a large portion of the NIL for the University of Michigan, not just along football, but for every sport as well. And he's doing an incredible job. And the thing about Michigan is they're doing it a lot differently. They're doing it as a collective to where they're getting money coming in from donors. They're kind of splitting it up. They have a board of advisors, from top companies around the world, sitting on this board for this group, deciding, what's the best way for this money to go out. Like JJ McCarthy, he's a Heisman, preseason. He's on the list. He's probably going to go. He's probably going to get drafted. He's going to have a decision here after this year if he wants to go to the NFL or stay another year. NIL, hopefully, it's getting those guys to stay another year. Really.
Yeah, I mean, Blake Corum just chose to stay, right? And
so yeah, that the whole collective and everything, it's doing a great job of giving kids that option, of staying another year and making money. And JJ's not going to be making $3 million a year because that's not the way Michigan's going to do it. Because it's not the smart way. It doesn't have longevity, and it's not going to last really. Like these things that these donors are giving $2 million to a singular kid out of high school, and that kid leaves the next year. That donor's not going to give any more money. Like he's like, what do you mean? Like unless I don't know, maybe he is, but yeah, I just don't think it can last. Second part of the question, yeah, I wish I was. I wish I was born a couple years later. That's for sure. But I don't know. If you would have gave me $1 million my freshman year of college, I don't know if it would have been the best thing for me.
What would that first purchase have been? Like a dream car, or like just a trip to Vegas?
Know.
What do you think? Like
I don't even think I was in that mindset. Graduating high school, I was thinking about maybe instead of getting Busch Light, we got a Bud Light. So
yeah, exactly.
All right, not Bud Light right now, but
yeah, exactly. That was like what was going through your head and that's what these kids are thinking about coming out of college, and they're like, oh, but here's $1 million with that mindset. It's like, they're thinking, oh, I don't have to buy Bud Light. I can go, I can go get whatever I want. Like, it's crazy to me.
Yeah, information's a lot more readily available, I guess, these days too. So kids are a lot smarter than we were coming out of high school. Like a lot of these guys that are like Blake Corum, he's investing in multifamily real estate.
Yeah.
A lot of these guys are just investing money with mentors that are coming in and helping. At least at the University of Michigan, these guys are coming in and help these kids. Investment, and then also realizing that like you're gonna have to pay taxes on this, and that was a big problem last year.
Exactly. And that's what Harbaugh just came out and said too. I mean, they have the top recruiting class currently right now. And, one of the reasons for that is obviously like what you just said, Shane, like they're handling it different than the rest of, like, yes, they have the money and the funding that a lot of these other schools have, but the way they're using it and, teaching these kids how to make more money off of that small amount of money they're giving them in the grand scheme of things, educating them, helping them be smart with their money so that they make more in the long run. I don't think a lot of other schools are doing that. And I think that kids and parents especially see the value in that and are like, okay, we want to send our kid to the University of Michigan because they're doing this, and LSU, Alabama, USC, they're just offered us flat out cash. And there's a difference, you know?
Yeah. And like opening the floodgates with it, you know, as you're referencing right now, like I think like, okay, you've opened the floodgates and everybody's like, oh, this isn't sustainable. Now we got to figure this out. And it's like there wasn't any rules to begin with. But the point that you made is really interesting because now it's like at this point, there might be, you know, a growing market for just agencies at the college level now where they have people helping them manage their money, managing their brand, managing their relationships with advertisers and things like that. That entire thing was, you know, didn't exist at all 3-4 years ago. And now that market probably could be just about as big as the NFL's market.
It happened overnight too.
People. Right.
Yeah.
Happened overnight.
Yeah. I mean, it happened pretty quickly. There was an idea of it with the Ed O'Bannon, kind of that whole lawsuit when, you know, they were going to be monetizing players. Jared and a couple other these guys started the process of thinking like this is real. This could happen and it could happen pretty soon. Let's get a head start on that. And that's why Jared's been so successful because he was one of the first players in that space. And I'm just so proud of him. He's killing it. He's doing such a great job.
Yeah, I've seen what he's done. I thought it was such a cool idea when I first saw him launch that. And obviously the second I saw it, I told my dad, I was like, this is going to be a success. I mean, there's going to be a huge market for this. And it will continue to grow. Honestly, I think it will continue to grow. It can only get better. But speaking of committing and all these kids going to Michigan, you had a lot of options. You know, there's not many schools you can name that weren't one of your options at the time coming out of high school. Why Michigan? You know, what was the main reason you chose to go there above all your other options? And, you know, just talk about your time there and some of the highlights.
Yeah, I grew up a Michigan fan. My family was Michigan fans. I was, you know, first grade pictures, I was wearing a Michigan jersey. Always was in Michigan stuff. I had a customized jersey that was my uncle's that he gave to me. It had Morris on the back that I would wear around. So it was kind of always a dream of mine to like play quarterback at the University of Michigan. That was, you know, ever since I was in, you know, 4th, 5th grade playing football, wanting to play in college. And that was what I wanted to do. I wanted to play football. I wanted to play quarterback at the University of Michigan. So that's what I worked for. And started getting all these offers. And then sophomore year, high school, late in sophomore year, I got offered by the University of Michigan. I also got a few other offers at that time, Michigan State, Alabama, some other big schools. And I just knew like that came off that big Sugar Bowl win that year. They were, you know, building something special. Coach Hoke was there. He was doing a great job. They had some players. The quarterback room looked favorable for me at that time. Denard was leaving. Devin had, you know, one more year left, and the line was coming back, and things were lining up for me. They didn't take a quarterback the year before me in the recruiting class, so I just kind of stars aligned for me, and fell in love with the staff, fell in love with the university, everything about it, the school curriculum. Obviously, it's not a 4-year degree. They always say it's a 40-year degree. So it just felt like the right fit for me. It was the right people in the recruiting class. I mean, you know, I was just at Ben Gideon's wedding last weekend, and you know, my entire house is standing up. You know, we're still best friends, and there's 7 of us, and you know, it's very, very rare to see. Those were the guys that stood up at my wedding last year. And, you know, we just kind of make the rounds, and we're still super, super close. Fox is having a kid. So it's the first one from our group, you know, having a baby, little girl. So it's crazy to see, but, you know, I think it was the right decision for me, although, you know, maybe didn't work out the way I wanted it to on the field.
Yeah. And I mean, you know, kind of like getting into, you know, the idea that like a lot of athletes, or really just anybody that has a passion in the first place, I think they kind of expect going into things like progress is just up and to the right. And if I keep working at it, it's just going to keep going like this. And I think, you know, a lot of people find out pretty quickly, like, that's not how things work. There can be adversities. There can be setbacks. You had to deal with a coaching change, and then you ended up transferring somewhere else, but you still came out on top with a lot of it. How does, you know, managing that adversity through your college career and just kind of, you know, keep coming back, staying at it, and finding, you know, new ways to be successful. And, you know, how would you kind of, I guess, communicate that message to somebody that's in your shoes as a sophomore or junior in high school, kind of getting that same attention now?
Yeah, it's not easy. I would say that, first of all, it's not easy. It's never going to be easy, and it's not going to get easier. throughout the entire process. The recruiting process is hard, and it was hard for me, and that was really, kind of just the start of social media when I was going through it. Twitter was just becoming a thing. Instagram was fairly new. TikTok was not real. So there was this. We were kind of the first group, and I've talked to Max Brown, and he's talked about it before as well. We were really that first group that kind of came through with social media, and where it was big. I was a junior and senior in high school, like 20,000 followers on Twitter, and it was just kind of like mind-boggling because you had this reach, right? It was like outside of your own community. You were able to now reach the entire country, other fan bases, other people. So you're getting all this attention from everybody, and there was no map on how to guide us through that because it's never happened before. So we were trying to, figure out our way to weave through this crazy time that was happening that no one's ever seen before. And yeah, I probably made some mistakes, got involved with it a little bit too much, looked at it too much, read too many tweets about myself, but it's hard not to, right? Because you got all these
It's right
people
there on
talking,
your phone. Yeah.
got all these people talking about you, right? That you never met before, and that's never really happened before. No one knows how to deal with it, and I especially didn't. But going through that, you get to freshman year of college, and you get in the locker room, and none of that shit matters. It's
Yeah.
it's all over. You get all these seniors, and they're like, I don't care how many Twitter followers you got, TikTok followers you got. You got to show up every day, work your butt off in the weight room first, be a leader by example, and then, play well on the field and show up every day.
Yeah.
So,
It
yeah,
still probably was like a culture shock though, where it's like you said, like somebody you've never met before, probably doesn't have enough profile picture that's actually their face going and like critiquing
Back
like,
when it was just
college
the egg.
athletes.
When it would just
Yeah,
be like the
right.
egg,
Yeah.
the egg,
Like,
the
who
egg
the hell are
picture.
you?
Yeah.
yeah, you got all these people talking crap about you from all over the place, and you got to
Well,
find a way to deal with that. So
It's not all in vain though, because you had one moment that blew up for the right reasons. Or I remember seeing this exact celebration clip maybe 100 times back when this game happened. It was freaking awesome.
You got to tell us if you did you see that somewhere else?
Oh.
Did you plan that you were going to do that? Like, or was
No.
that just in the heat of the moment? Like you're just so excited after throwing like a game-winning touchdown pass.
Yeah, honestly, I've talked to my dad about it before. He's like, what was that? And I was like, honestly, I don't know. I think it was just everything that was built up, like from, the past 5 years. The three head coaches I had, the four offensive coordinators in 5 years, four completely different offenses, the issues with injuries and things like that, and not really seeing success on the field at Michigan. We here and there it was great, but not what I wanted to, not what my expectations were when I, committed there and when I got there. So I think just everything that was that Central Michigan season, I felt that, it was kind of like a last chance for me. But also it was, an opportunity for me to play and really enjoy myself and get on the field. And that right there, that fourth quarter drive, that game winning touchdown to Corey Willis over the middle, I think it was just kind of like the culmination of like everything that's ever
much
happened and just let up.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I just let loose. And I know after the game, I was just crying. It was just kind of like tears of joy, dude. It was.
I remember what it was like too, like when you first, I first saw that you were coming to Central, right? Because I had known you a little bit, way back before. Actually, ran routes with you back at Quarterback 360, which Shane's dad, Ron Bonnin, and some other guys helped run, and it's basically quarterback training here in Warren, Michigan, but basically the greater Detroit area. They've helped out a lot of great young kids develop their game, and Shane obviously was one of them. And in his early time at Michigan, came back and helped and was throwing. And I was there with my quarterback in high school at the time. And I don't know if you remember, Shane, but you didn't have a receiver that day. So I ran double routes, ran for my guy, ran for you, and ripped my glove with just an absolute late. I mean, there was, you wonder why Shane had all of the recruiters and the ratings coming out of high school and then going into Michigan because he had a rocket of an arm. And I had heard about it and I was like, oh yeah, I'm sure he does. And then when you actually try to catch that ball the first time, when you're used to catching like a normal average high school quarterback's throw, literally ripped my glove. Still to this day, the only quarterback that's ever done that. And I've thrown with, I've caught balls from a lot of different guys. But yeah, I mean, then you came to Central, and so it was cool to kind of finally team up with you again, and it just feel like the stars aligned for you, obviously, and then for
Yeah.
CMU as well. I mean, we, had a couple good years before you got there, but I think you really took the program and gave us an awesome season, and a bowl game berth, and beating our rival in Western in the way that you did, stuff like that. It all leads back to what was the decision to go to CMU above, I'm sure you had a lot of other options as well, grad transfer. What was the choice for CMU? What was the reason behind that?
A lot of factors went into it. It was, pretty calculated decision that I had with my family and some other people that were helping advise me in the whole situation. It was really what's your goal here? What do you want out of this? And like, how are you going to do it? And for me, it was I want to play. So I want to go to the place that's going to be the best opportunity to play, but I also want to play well. So I want to go to a team that's going to, hopefully have some pieces there that I'm going to be able to succeed with, a good team, a good offensive line, good receivers, a good defense, and some people who I knew as well. So Coach Verska was on staff at that time, who was my high school football coach at De La Salle, was a kind of an advisor or, a helper on staff at Central Michigan because he was very close with Coach John Bonamego. And then Josh Sinagoga was a GA. So he was a quarterback at De La Salle a few years before me, who I built a very good relationship with, and I'm still very good friends with to this day. So I had some people there, and then I also had Josh Cox on the team, who was one of my best friends from De La Salle. So there was people there I was familiar with, people that I knew they would look out for me. I wouldn't just be, another guy, like something went wrong, they would just kind of throw me under the bus. And then obviously the team we had that year was awesome. We had Tyler Conklin, who's still playing now. He's playing for the Jets. Had Corey Willis, who was a phenomenal receiver. Mark Chapman, who was the first overall pick in the CFL draft. Brandon Childress, who was great. Jonathan Ward, who's still in the NFL. Joey Osman. I mean, the list goes on with like Sean Bunting.
Yeah,
we had a great team. And all these players, and especially from a MAC team that are still playing in the NFL or had an opportunity to at that point, we had a great team, and we had some injuries at the beginning of the year, but we fought through them, and then once we were healthy in that middle of the season, we were doing
really
some special things.
We started to roll. You mentioned a lot of names, and it's so funny. We've had Bono on as a guest, we've had Conklin on as a guest. So it's funny to see it kind of it all comes full circle. But one of the coolest games, I think, and it didn't end up going our way, but we played against Josh Allen in Wyoming that year in the Idaho Potato Bowl. And what was that like? And obviously at the time, people kind of had some hype around Josh Allen, but I didn't think he'd end up being as good as he is today. I remember seeing him. We went and actually bowled like at the bowling alley like a couple days before our game as one of like the things. And Josh was bowling and was a freak bowler, of course, just good at everything. But he didn't like his like stature. He didn't like stand out to me. Like I didn't think when I saw him, I wasn't like impressed. You know what I mean? And then he came out and just torched us in the game. But what was that like? Kind of preparing to like play against a guy who was getting projected to be a top 5 pick, and obviously the comparisons of the quarterbacks naturally happens, and what a cool opportunity that was. To play in that game.
Yeah, that was. They had a really, really good team that year, which was kind of underrated because we watched a lot of the Oregon tape. I remember leading up to it, and Oregon, diced them up, right? They're throwing the ball over the field, kind of doing some things that we felt we, had, the ability to do. But looking back on it, the quarterback was Justin Herbert. So no one really realized that at the time. Like, this guy's going to be one of the top quarterbacks in the NFL. No wonder he's dicing up this defense.
Right.
So that defense was sick. They had a bunch of guys go to NFL, but Josh, especially watching him, he didn't play a ton that year. He was hurt. They weren't sure he was going to play in the bowl game. Well, he was supposed to be a top draft pick. Why would he play? He hurt his stock, blah, blah, blah. So decided to play. So we're watching him warm up on the field. I'm like, well, he's a big guy, but, he hasn't played a lot. And the film he did play that year didn't really do that well.
Wasn't great,
Struggled a little bit. So I'm like, all right, we got this. So we go down the field. I think we fumbled the first drive, whatever it was. And then they get the ball, I think is on their own 40. And standing on the sideline watching the game, it's 0-0. He drops back, take a 7-step drop. stands back there, takes 2 hitches, and throws one of the best passes I've ever seen in my entire life on a
I know
deep
exactly which
post
one you're talking about.
over the top of like 3 safeties on an absolute line in perfect stride to his receiver for a touchdown. I looked at it, I was like, I looked at everyone around me, I was like, fuck.
Yeah, we're in
this
for it.
this guy's
Yeah.
legit. Like, this guy is good. And then obviously the rest of that game, breaking tackles all over the place, coming up big on third downs. I did not play well that game. We had a lot of turnovers. But the game should have been a little bit closer than it was. But you can't, his credit is due. He is an awesome player, obviously, from what he's done now. But he played really well in that game against us.
I just remember, I mean, obviously, yeah, that throw, just like my jaw dropped watching that thing go in the air. And then what really surprised me was his athleticism. Like, he was making the dudes that Shane and I practiced against every day look silly. And I'm like, these are really good players that he's making look bad. And like, Josh doesn't look like, he's making Mike Dana, another guy, another pro guy. Yeah,
two All-Americans, like
making them look silly,
throwing them off of them.
I'm like, it was freaky stuff. And I mean, after that game, he warranted the hype to me. And when he got drafted high, it made sense. And seeing him now as on the cover of Madden as of a few weeks ago, like, crazy how it goes from him starting against us in a Idaho Potato Bowl to he's one of the best players in football, period. So
I mean, he deserves it. He's a hell of a player. Works hard. He's doing things the right way in the community as well. And you can just tell, he's a good guy. He's one of the good ones, and he deserves everything that's coming to him. So happy for him.
Yeah, for sure.
One question I had quick is, you mentioned 3 different coaches, 4 different offensive coordinators. I think that's one thing a lot of people don't really recognize is, like, chemistry with your OC and your coach is huge as a quarterback. Yeah. And, it can be pretty turbulent to have new guys. Who is the favorite coach that you had ever worked with? And along with that, who is your favorite athlete that you had gotten to work with over your career?
It's a good question, John.
It's a great question. It's tough to compare people because I feel like always one of them or a bunch of people get slighted in that way. But I don't know. I think personally, like, I really do believe Coach Hoke was just a great guy, a great recruiter, and did things the right way. And as you can see, he's having some success at San Diego State as well right now. So personable, like, he's a guy, a guy that comes in and changes the program is Harbaugh. I believe, he did a great job with that, and it took some time, but you've seen what they're able to do the past few years. X's and O's, I believe Jed Fish is one of the smartest guys I ever played for. He's the head coach at Arizona now and doing well. His playbook was one of the thickest books I've ever seen in my life, and that was thankfully the only time I ever played in an offense for 2 years was under him, and it took me all 2 years to learn that. But his play calling, he comes from the Shanahan tree. So a lot of those guys, you see all of them now, they're doing really, really well. But a big thing about them is, they never really run the same play out of the same formation ever. So, there's always motions, there's always different formations, there's always shifts, but like to get into the same result. And that's kind of one of the biggest things I learned from him is not showing the same look over and over again in a game.
It's a defense that's such a nightmare.
Exactly, right.
Such a nightmare.
Yeah, so and you run the same plays or the same route concepts, just from a shift, a different look, different formation, getting guys in the same spots, but just starting in different areas. And then what we had at Central Michigan with Coach O was something that was completely foreign to me. I've been in a pro style offense my entire life, and then committed to Central actually when Gino Guidugli was the offense coordinator.
Still is the OC, yeah.
He ran a pro style offense with Cooper Rush, and I saw what they ran that year, the 4 years with Coop, and I was like, yeah, this is what I do. This is what I'm built for here. And then really, like, pretty soon before I got there, he left to go to Cincinnati, and Coach O came in, and I met with him, and it was a little late in the process for me to kind of switch it up again. But I met with him. I knew we had the team around us, and him running that RPO offense, and people don't really realize that no one on that team knew what the hell we were doing. No one in that team has ever ran an RPO offense. Everyone,
Brand new.
all those seniors, juniors have spent 4 or 5 years in a pro style offense, pro style terminology, all of this stuff, and then you get a new guy coming in from Northern Michigan or Michigan Tech and running a complete RPO offense with foreign language, no huddle, no cadence, throwing the ball a crazy amount of times a game. So it wasn't just new for me; it was new for everybody on the whole team, and then everybody on the whole team has also never played with me.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of things that we
Completely
had to
new.
get right in camp, and then and we did. I mean, obviously it didn't start great, but like as we got in the middle of the season, kind of everything started to click. We started to pick up the offense, and he's now the offensive coordinator at Yale. He is doing awesome. He invited me out to the Yale Harvard game this year, so I'm probably going to go out there.
Nice.
He said he's going to treat me to the VIP experience, so we'll see. It's
We'll
one of
see.
the bucket list games. I know his Jersey talk. He can overpromise a little bit some things, but
Yeah, of course.
yeah.
I think you undersell the athleticism though that you displayed, and maybe you just had to get thrown into the situation to figure out that you're more than a pro style quarterback. John, if you want to show a couple of the clips that we have queued up, I remember seeing this, and I was like, "Holy shit!" Like, I thought this kid was supposed to be like a pro style, like stay in the pocket. I only throw the ball. He comes out first start at CMU and does this shit. And I think this is where we're like, okay, we might have a little bit of
Right.
something going on here.
Might have a guy
Just
here.
flat out hurdles and land. Yeah, that was the Sports Center top 10
Yeah,
play.
this is what
This is the
laser cannon
him
arm.
throwing the ball. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's the arm talent. Drops it
Yeah,
right there.
they threw me on the Sports Center top 10 for that. I was pretty pumped.
Yeah. That was
Then we went into
those
triple
are-
overtime with Rhode Island, so that wasn't
Yeah.
great.
Pulled it off though. Yeah, I mean, so definitely, maybe selling yourself short on the athleticism thing and saying just pro style, but we found out rather quickly that Sugar Shane was not just throwing the ball. Where did that nickname start, by the way? I mean, I felt like I saw it even when you were in high school, or was that like?
Yeah, so it started the ESPN like Gridiron Kings. I got invited as a sophomore. I was the only sophomore to get invited. So they flew down to Orlando, Florida, and we played in this ESPN massive 7-on-7 tournament with some of the top players in the country. And we did pretty well. We made it to the semifinals. The semifinals got played on ESPN that year, and the announcer was talking, and then one of the guys on the field started screaming "Sugar Shane," and then kind of was on ESPN, and people started saying it, and it kind of stuck. And then some of the high school buddies, especially Josh Cox, just loved it, so they were calling me that for the next 2 years.
A sweet nickname.
There it is. Yeah.
There it is, man. Sugar Shane lives on forever.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny because it's mostly, I think it was, a lot of people in Michigan didn't call me it, but it was when I got to Central, I think Josh.
Picked back up.
Well, Josh
Yeah.
just referred to me at, like, that's what he called it. He just called me Sugar. So, like, that's what everyone at Central just started calling me. And I was like, all right, roll with it.
It's a great nickname. Why would you? Yeah, why not? Not mad about it.
And that's, yeah, all the Central boys still, that's all they call me, Shug.
Yeah. Sugar Shane, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Quick question too, pro career wise, AFL, and then also, you spent some time chatting with the Lions. If you want to talk about that at all, either of those experiences.
Yeah, so I got picked up in minicamp with the Lions after I was training down in Miami, and then didn't get drafted, went undrafted, and then got signed or picked up by Detroit. So I went to minicamp with Detroit, was there for a little while. I mean, it was a great experience. I threw on a Lions jersey, a Lions helmet, and got to suit up for the team. I grew up
Hometown
watching
team.
and hometown team. I was in the Lions locker room as a player, in the weight room working out and on their field. So it was really it was kind of a unbelievable experience. I knew that's obviously where I wanted, but kind of when I got there, I realized it probably wasn't happening for me. So because they just signed Matt Castle like literally 2 days before I got there, because they had Stafford, Jake Rudock. And then they didn't have a third, so I got picked up, and I was like, there's an opportunity for me to make this roster. And then I think a day before I got there, they signed Matt Castle. So
It's an unforgiving sport, man. I mean,
yeah,
it's unforgiving, like just so close. What was it like playing, teaming up with those guys for the time that you were there, learning from them and just kind of competing with them?
It was awesome, man. It was an incredible experience. Me and another quarterback came in, and I ended up taking most of the reps. I was doing really well. I was studying my ass off, for the slight opportunity that I might get a chance, or coach might go somewhere else and would like to bring me on. But it was awesome. We were there with on Johnson, just got drafted. The lineman, who's this the center?
Ragnow?
Ragnar Frank just got drafted then. So I was hanging out with all those guys. Frank's a great dude. I mean, obviously still killing it. Staff, was what it was at that point. Patricia was in there. It was an interesting time to be a Lions fan, and it was even more interesting to be in that
Be a
locker room.
player, yeah.
So
I can imagine.
yeah, it was great. I mean, Jim Bob Cooter was the OC. So being honestly, I have no complaints. Obviously I would have wished I would, I'd still be playing the NFL, but just being able to get that experience of being, in those team meeting rooms, being in that locker room, being on the field in the weight room is something I'll have, and I'll, kind of have those memories for the rest of my life.
It's a very different locker room and roster nowadays. How are you feeling kind of as a Lions fan about, the direction that MCDC and Brad Holmes has kind of taken this new team?
I love it. Campbell he's what Detroit needs. He's kind of the embodiment of the culture of the city. I think he's perfect for that. He actually worked at Central Michigan. He came and did a private workout with me and Tyler Conklin when he was with the Saints. So I threw with him, got to chat with him, and he was just an awesome guy, super intense, but like very, very nice, personable, have a conversation with him. And then when the Lions picked him up, I was like, this is perfect for Detroit. And then obviously Jared's doing a great job. I know Jared, he was in the same year as me in the Elite 11 and everything. So we spent a lot of time together in high school through camps, the camp circuit and everything. And he's a great guy, and he's having some success, and he's primed for a big year. But I love the direction of the team. I think they're doing great things. I love the draft this year. Obviously, I don't know how I feel about the Chiefs game. Open
find
season.
out.
I think we can
find out.
I think we can pull it off.
Can't think of a better time to play the defending Super Bowl champions than Week 1 prime time.
Yeah, prime time.
Go.
Catch a little hangover.
One last question I got for you, and Mark, I don't know if you have any left as well, but as a Michigan fan, watching Jabril Peppers play was maybe my favorite player I've ever seen in my entire time being a Michigan fan. He was so fun, so explosive, kind of like our generation's like Charles Woodson as far as the things that he was able to do on the field. What was it like, having that guy as a teammate and, watching him make those same ridiculous plays that we were watching him make on TV at the Big House?
Yeah, it was incredible. And he really was doing that from day one. He came in as a true freshman and was doing our 7-on-7 workouts in the off season that summer, just eating every workout, killing it on 7-on-7 on defense. And then also, he was doing some offensive stuff as well for us. Probably the best athlete I ever played with. Definitely. It's hard to pick somebody else. There's probably some guys that are a little bit close, but yeah, the things he did, on the field and in every position he could play, it was just mind-boggling, and it was, a privilege, honestly, to be on the team and watch him do it. And we had some formations in there my junior year where we run, like we call it Navy, and then he would be a running back and I would be a quarterback, and then I would pitch him the ball and then turn around and lead block for him. So that was when I was about 230. Yeah. Not doing that these days.
That's awesome.
But there's a few pictures of me of lead blocking for Jabril Peppers, so I'll be able to show my kids that one day.
Yeah, I remember a couple of those plays too. It was so cool. Yeah.
I do have one last question too, Shane. The obviously the importance of this game increases, it seems like every single year somehow, but the game, right? You were able to be a part of that a few times. Why is that game so special? What makes it so different? The rivalry is so intense compared to anything else you've been a part of or anything else you've witnessed?
Yeah, I think it's just the history, what it's built up. From Bo and Woody days, even before that, but really kind of emphasizing and on that era. Just it's it's something special, and it's really hard to explain too because there's a feeling around it. Like that whole week is just very very different than anything else. Like obviously Michigan State's a big game and it's in-state rival and it means a lot, but it's just the history and the players that have played in that game and the moments that have happened in that game. It's a whole nother level. And as you've seen, throughout history, nothing what you've done that entire year matters before that game because you're going to get everyone's 110%. You're going to get the best performance from every player on that field, every single play, giving 100% no matter what. And frankly, you just don't get that a lot in other games. So, I mean, the score is always reflective of it. It's always a close game. The better team, usually like sometimes doesn't win. But I think the focus that Harbaugh has put on that game recently in recent years, doing, beat Ohio period in practice, things like that is really emphasized and, kind of put it on another level on that. And I think you've seen the past, 2 years, what they've been able to do on the field.
Yeah,
And it's just been incredible.
I mean, obviously their game plan's been great in the last 2 years, but it's like the passion, like it just meant more to the guys on
It
the Michigan
does. Yeah.
sideline. You could just tell, like especially that snow game, the first time they beat them in I don't even know how many years. Like it just meant
Yeah.
more. Like Aiden Hutchinson and some of these guys, you could just see like nothing else in the world mattered in those 3 hours of game time. It just was everything in the world to beat Ohio. Like
Yeah, I mean,
and
it is. It is. And,
so
we went 0-4 in my 4 years in Michigan, and it was demoralizing. It was embarrassing and, frankly, not acceptable. And it, kind of carried through, and it was before that. So, these guys being in Michigan, how many years I forgot it was we beat them, but just finally, you saw it from alumni, you saw it from former players, just kind of the relief of like, yes, like it's finally over.
yeah. And then
And
doubling
then
down and doing it again this year.
yeah, and then last year's game was just incredible. It was so much fun to watch. Donovan I was just going off. Those guys, I mean, it's going to be an awesome year. I'm so excited for them. The team's going to be great, and then Donovan and Blake and JJ back there. It's a heck of a
Special.
backfield. Yeah.
Special for sure. All good.
Um,
But yeah, that's all I
but yeah,
got.
Shane,
Shane,
we
if there's
really
anything
appreciate
else,
you coming on.
yeah, we
Yeah.
really
No,
do.
thanks for having me, guys. It was
It was
fun.
an awesome interview. I mean, just you have such a cool story, such a so much adversity you overcame. Obviously, a lot of highs, some lows, but what an awesome story you have. A lot to be proud of, and I think people will really enjoy hearing. From just the honesty that you speak with from beginning to the end of your career. Just awesome stuff, man. Really appreciate you having on.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. Appreciate it. Peace.
Have a good one.
See you, man.
Yeah, sorry about that. Wi-Fi started crapping out. We'll just edit it for however frozen I get. It's fine.
You got frozen, but I mean, I think me and Shane were fine, so I think it's gonna roll smooth.
Yeah, I think it was primarily a me problem. So I just sat there and smiled and waved the entire time and just kind of hoped that everything went well. But yeah, no, amazing interview. And just as a Michigan fan, man, like I'm just fired up. Like I feel like I just want to start watching like some film or some of the game the past 2 years or whatever all over again. Because I mean, truly, like it's such an amazing culture that university has. And like, I know Shane like alluded, it wasn't exactly what they wanted Michigan standard of football to be while he was there. But the thing is that there's just like a reverence to the culture that university has. And I mean, even the way that he's talking about how they're setting up NIL and just like, the culture that Harbaugh's kind of instilled and like how much it meant to some of these players playing in the game and stuff like that. Like it really is just a very different vibe than the vast majority of colleges out there. So
it's a special place, man, and you can see why people want to be a part of it.
Yeah, my fanboy pedestal a little bit, but
yeah,
you're right.
But no, it was cool to have him on. I keep in touch with Shane. Obviously, he was a great teammate of mine, but we also work in very similar careers now. So I keep in touch with him. Great dude, and we've been trying to have him on for a while and it just hasn't, lined up perfectly. But finally, we got him on, and I'm so glad we did, because what an awesome inside scoop to so much,
many
right? I
awesome
mean, so
stories,
many
yeah.
inside stories, so many connections that he has, and he lived what a lot of people's dream is, right? And you see how you can go from being a 5-star recruit and then all of a sudden things aren't working out the way you want them to, and then you transfer and you have a great season, and then you're like, oh shit, I'm gonna fulfill my dream and play in the NFL, and then all of a sudden it's taken away from you like that, and
Right.
just to see him and to see just an honest conversation through everything that he went through, it's pretty awesome to see. And that's what we love to do on this podcast, is try to have those stories that you're not going to see on ESPN, that you're not going to watch, anytime you turn on First Take or anything like that. But if you tune in here, you're going to see a lot of those details that maybe you don't get in other places.
Yeah. And again, like I think we have this unique opportunity to kind of, share the stories that, exactly like big networks and things like that aren't focusing on, because there's a very human element to this game. And there's a lot of stories that, have a lot of bumps in the road that I think, are in a lot of ways a lot more exciting and interesting to listen in on than, maybe what they're doing on the field or whatever, big headlines getting made that week. So it's super cool stuff. And look, in as far as paying homage to the podcast, as I said, last week of June, last week that things are running a little bit slow. And Mark, do you remember what we did for our very first Practice Squad podcast episode ever?
I do. Yeah. And we did a tier list of where we thought teams would be in terms of contender, Super Bowl contender, playoff contender, 500, below 500, all that shit. And all I remember from that first episode is I didn't have a mic yet, right? And
didn't have a mic. We didn't have any Practice Squad branding. I pulled some bullshit stuff off of Google of a football field to use as the background. It was janky. And at the same time, right? You got to respect where you started. And this podcast has come a long way, right? I mean, I remember how geeked we were to, interview Troy for the first time, sweet, the podcast as its first NFL player. When we just had Shane on, and I think we're pretty good at this by now too. And we've had a lot of really awesome, stories and talents to bring on. So in respects to that, we're bringing it back out.
Bring back NFL the
tier maker. And so we're going to do two of them. We're going to do uniforms, which we'll do after this. And then we're going to, which honestly, I'm excited to just purely talk team aesthetics, because I do think it matters a lot. Because look, if you don't look good, you don't play
look good, feel good, play good. I really do believe in that. I used to not believe in that. My whole life, and if you watch our last episode with my dad, you see he's pretty damn old school. My whole life, he preached, no gloves, tuck your shirt in, all this bullshit, right? It doesn't matter how you look. I learned that when I started to get a little bit of swag, towards the end of my high school and into college, you play better when you feel like you look better, and you just feel good and you feel confident. It's a true thing.
I've been, on stages my entire life, right? And I can't say that I could give the same performance that I have previously if I walked up on stage and I had some cargo shorts and a golf shirt on, right?
John, true or false, your concert would be significantly less memorable if you had my haircut.
Yeah.
I mean, that's right there. Boom. Simple.
So,
simple
and for real, the driving factor behind the length of my hair damn near my entire life is so that when I bang my head, that shit goes everywhere. Straight up. There's no other.
If you're going to shred on the guitar, it just isn't the same if your hair isn't moving.
100%.
Totally.
I could not agree more. So anyways, let's get into it here. And do you want to go in the divisional order? Do you just want to pick teams and kind of start ranking them and see where
I think you got them in just a random order, it looks like. Yeah. Let's just go in that order. Let's just go Saints across and,
So Saints to me are a playoff team, not because I feel too certain about where their roster and organization is at, but because they are the best team in their division, in my opinion. I feel like they don't have the thickest of competition, and for there, I'm going to put them at playoff team tier. But remember, these tier lists too, we'll put other teams in front of the Saints, as it's recognizing it.
Right.
So that's
I would have them in potential wild card is where I'd put them, but I'm not going to pick on you too hard with that.
Divisionally speaking, that's where I'm at. Also with playoff, and let's try to make this accurate, right? So if we're talking playoff team, SB contenders, SB favorites, I mean, what are we grabbing 14 teams, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah. Okay, so 14 teams should end up in this tier, and if there's more than that, then we should start knocking people down. Dolphins. I would put them in potential wild card. Even though I think they're a playoff team, they probably have a better roster and coaching organization than the Saints. But due to their division, they're going to be struggling a little bit harder than the Saints, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree there. I agree. I think that's where they belong. That division's too competitive to safely say anything higher than that.
Right. Ravens, probably put them in the same spot because they got the Bengals and the Steelers and the Browns to worry about.
Yeah, I would agree.
Now, are they a better or worse overall team than Miami, you think?
I think they're worse.
Okay. That's tough. I don't know if I agree with that.
I mean, it's close. The Ravens are a different look, you know? It's
very different look. I'd be interested.
Much of the same.
Are they on each other's schedule this year? Because I actually
they played each other last year, so I don't think
so. Probably
they
not. That stinks. Bengals, SP contender. Knock them down a peg.
Yeah, I can't say. Yeah, it's got to be contender. It's got to be.
They got
I was gonna say favorite maybe, but you can't.
AFC's too stocked.
By the way, check out hype video on Cincinnati. I just posted this
Mark
week.
Did post
haven't
one.
seen it.
It got a copyright strike on YouTube, but
I watch it
on TikTok.
I watch it, and it almost makes me want to like bump them up to favorite.
Hey man, if your mascot's a tiger, that's pretty freaking cool. That's all I gotta say. Dude, and you're not even using like the main word for a tiger, but like a Bengal's a tiger,
sick,
right?
Dude.
Like just kind of goes nuts. Also, those white unis that they rocked for the Miami.
Oh my god,
that game sucked because I just wanted to watch their unis and watch them ball out, and the whole Tua thing was a huge dampener on it, unfortunately. But what are you gonna do? Broncos. It's got to be missing playoffs, right? And I love Sean Payton.
I would say mediocre at best, man.
Sean Payton.
Russell Wilson was so bad last year. I
Wow.
think even with the improvement that Sean Payton will bring, which there will be some, they're in a tough division too, man.
You heard it here first. Russell Wilson is not fixable, according to Mark Petrito, and I might agree.
I've been saying that.
All right, we'll keep him at mediocre at best. We'll see what happens. New York Football Giants. I'm gonna say they're a missing playoff team. I think their ending record's gonna be like 7 wins or so.
I would put them at mediocre at best. Here's the thing with New York. They won a playoff game last year, and they extended Daniel Jones, and they're probably going to extend Barkley here pretty soon. The thing with them, John, and this is crazy to say, but I really do believe it. I think that they got better going into this season from last season, but I think they'll be much worse record-wise. Their schedule last year was one of the easiest in football. This year is one of the hardest. And yes, they're going to be a better team than they were last year, and I think that they're going to be significantly worse record-wise.
Okay.
So, again, it's just they play a tough schedule. They're in a tough division.
I'll put them ahead of the Broncos, though. Can we agree with that, then? If that's where
I don't know, dude. I wouldn't, honestly.
You think Broncos Giants face off?
I think the Broncos would win.
Interesting. Okay.
I just don't believe. I hope that I'm wrong because I have a few former teammates on that team, but they have a tough schedule, and I don't know. It's gonna be tough.
Okay, Vikings. Look, they were a fraudulent ass team last year, and I'm putting them in missing playoffs. I think actually that Green Bay is a higher chance of finishing second in the division than the Vikings.
They did lose Dalvin Cook.
Flores is a huge game
Thielen.
for them. That is the only thing I'm worried about with that take that I just made. But I don't know, man. I think last year was a fluke, and I don't think that in the same sense as the Giants, I think that they are going to not have some of those balls bounce their way this year.
The Vikings, to me, are one of the hardest teams
They're
talk
so
about.
inconsistent. They're garbage. They're good. They're garbage.
John,
they're good.
I could see them finish last in their division.
Yeah,
I really could, but I also could see them make the playoffs.
I know.
So
So that's why I'm just smack dab in the middle, right?
Okay.
Maybe
yeah,
they
I'd
just
say
barely
miss
miss
playoffs.
it. Rams. I think this team will be better, but I saw from Brett Coleman's Rams video that they have. How many rookies do you think they have on their roster?
I saw
right
this.
now?
I think they have like 26 or something.
36.
Yeah.
36 fresh blood, first year guys trying out for the team. And I think because of that, you're going to have to put them at like mediocre at best, right?
I would put them at number 1 pick contention.
Wow. You think they're going to be that bad?
Yeah, I do.
I don't know if I can agree with that. I would put them behind the Giants. I don't think they're number 1 pick contention. I think that's specially reserved for another team in their division.
Okay, I can live with that. I think Stafford might lead the league in picks again if he stays healthy.
Yeah, I heard you make that take.
We'll see.
And I disagree. I think that also belongs to Dak Prescott, but I guess we'll find out. Or Anthony Richardson if he starts.
That for sure could happen if he starts. But I don't think he'll start enough games.
For sure, mediocre at best. I might put Tampa in number 1 pick contention. We are not talking enough about how Tampa has just completely fallen from grace since winning their Super Bowl.
Well, not only that, but now they lost the greatest of all time.
Yep.
I would put them
right back where they belong.
I would put them mediocre at best, and I'd put them, behind the Rams.
Okay. Detroit Lions. My heart tells me here, but team. My brain tells me there.
Playoff team.
I can live with this. That's fine.
Listen, we're real, okay? This isn't gonna be a La La Land fantasy world podcast.
Sure.
We have to be careful, John, all right? Because we cannot continue to push the Lions higher and higher and higher and then be let down. We gotta keep listen, we know what could happen this year and there's potential, but we can't be talking about it like it's a sure thing.
Hey, Mark. Go Bears.
Dude, I'm going to say the Bears are a missing playoff team, but that's a big improvement for them. No, can't do it yet, but I could see that happen.
I think Poles is building his team very similar to how Brad Holmes is, except for whatever reason he really likes overpaying linebackers. And besides that, honestly,
they do have a great linebacking core, though. Because of the fact that they're loaded. So, in terms of stopping the run, which they're gonna, the Lions, the Packers,
they're gonna need to be able to do.
They're gonna want to stop the run.
San Francisco 49ers. I want to put them right back here, honestly. Like, I think out of the NFC, they might even be better poised to win it than the Eagles, right? Like, I might even put them in here just because of like the way the NFC looks right now. For sure here.
They're a Super Bowl contender. Put them behind Cincinnati.
Fair.
The thing here, John, is people forget they lost their defensive coordinator, and he was a huge reason that they were so good the last couple seasons. And they've also lost a few players. Yeah, I think you got to leave them right there, though. But Seattle, don't sleep on Seattle.
We'll get there. Eagles.
Contender.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say they're although it's tough because
who are we going to put in the NFC there,
I guess you'd have to put the Eagles as the favorite.
Yeah, I mean, they are pretty much running it back minus their coordinators. That's the biggest thing that concerns me. Was it Sirianni or was it his coordinators?
I'll ask you this, and this maybe answers our question. What do you think's a bigger loss? The Niners losing one of the best defensive coordinators in football, or the Eagles losing both their OC and DC? But I wouldn't say either of them were considered the best.
Yeah, I would say the Niners is more significant because of the fact that the Eagles roster, top to bottom, has damn near no weaknesses. It
somehow got better.
Yeah, and so with that, right? Like you gotta pay respect where respect is due. Raiders, oh man,
number one pick contention.
I think they go in number 1 pick contention for sure. I I think they completely blew themselves up.
Is
how
Jimmy
you
G
do-
gonna play?
I don't.
like,
we don't
has he been-
know. So we don't know that. Derek Carr, I think the way they handled that situation was one of the it's incredible to say this, probably like one of the top 3 most embarrassing things the Raiders have done in the past 10, 15 years, which is saying something considering they have damn near no first round picks still on their roster from like the past like 5 or 6 years. Like they seriously might win like 2 games this season, I think. And look, maybe I'm wrong, but because
I think they win like 4 games, maybe.
I think that's being generous. Green Bay Packers, honestly, I hate to say this. I hate to do this, but I actually think
really? You think they're that high?
If we're talking about the Vikings and the Bears being down here, then somebody in the NFC besides the Lions has to be in that wild card spot, right? The only question mark that we're really considering here is Jordan Love, right? I mean, defense. When healthy is really good.
They didn't draft very well overall.
They had a standard Green Bay Packers draft. When has that ever stopped them?
Yeah, I guess it's fair. I mean, it's the Packers.
I'll put them at the bottom of potential wild cards to keep us happy. That's fine, but I think they belong in this conversation. Unfortunately, it hurts me to say it, but the more I've thought about it, the more that I genuinely think this team is the most likely to finish second in the division. So
yeah,
that's where I'm at. Man, Commanders, I'm like,
number
this
1
team
pick.
sucks. I don't know though. We got Bieniemy and we got ownership.
I don't think that's a good thing. I don't think Bieniemy is going to be coming and do anything great for them.
I will put them mediocre at best. I don't think they're number 1 pick contention.
They're starting Sam Howell.
Okay, and with a potentially good OC with something to prove, maybe that goes somewhere. I'm not sure.
I can't even name 3 or 4 offensive players on their team.
You got Scary Terry
and Sam Howell.
You got
who's their running back? I don't even know.
Robinson, the dude that got shot.
Okay, that's one.
And
the only reason you know him is because he got shot.
No, there's the other guy too that they still have, who was actually pretty good in fantasy a couple years ago. What the hell is his name?
I don't think he's on the team anymore. I know who you're thinking of.
Why can't I remember his name? And then you got the other Dotson.
Oh yeah, Jahan Dotson's good.
Yeah, that's
the fact that that's a struggle to name 4 people.
Yeah, for how much NFL we watch, I could name. Yeah. Okay, you already know where I'm at. This is my pick for worst team in the league. You heard it. I've said it a few times. We had a.
They have every
Cardinals
reason
video.
to want to be the worst team in the
Yeah.
league.
What are they playing for this year? Nothing. And it's first year with their new staff, so they're not worried about losing their jobs going into this shit sandwich of a situation. So we're tanking for Caleb Williams starting week 1. I genuinely believe that's going to be the Arizona Cardinals plan.
And then Marvin Harrison with like the third or fourth pick.
Right. And then you got a whole new roster. You're good to go. All right, Steelers. I want to kind of put them like in this
potential wild card. I think they're potential wild card, man.
Dude, don't for real.
Tomlin.
Don't disrespect Kenny Pickett, first of all. I think that dude's going to have a pretty decent season. George Pickett, their entire receiving and tight end core are the biggest MFs on the face of the planet.
Deontay Johnson is one of the best route runners in football.
And then you have George Pickens, who he had a great rookie season last year. I don't think enough people are talking about it. Got Darnell Washington. He could have a big 6'7".
You still have, what's their tight end from Penn State?
Freiermuth?
Freiermuth. You still have Najee Harris.
Yep.
You've
investments in the offensive line. Yep. And then your defense year over year is disgusting. Watt, Fitzpatrick.
Dude, yeah, I mean, honestly, the Steelers could be really good, man.
You can't count Tomlin out. Simple as
I
that.
think they'll finish ahead of the Ravens in that division, but
interesting. I don't agree with that.
You don't have to move it.
I'm higher on the Ravens than you. And I get that, and I'm looking forward to arguing about that when the season actually starts. I think it'll be.
That's one of our more polarizing teams between you and I.
Yeah.
There's a few teams we for sure There's a few teams that we for sure have different opinions on.
Totally. And that's good. That's kind of what podcasts are for, is to debate our opinions occasionally. Bills. I can't put them here. I don't think I can put them here.
Playoff team.
Yeah, I can put them here, no problem.
And put them. I would put them behind the Lions.
Honestly, I would too. I was as soon as I put it there, I was like, that doesn't feel right.
And it's not necessarily because I'm not saying the Lions are better than the Bills or anything. I'm just saying, in terms of likelihood of making the playoffs, if I had to bet
with a bloodbath,
I would more confidently say that the Lions will make it over the rather than the Bills, and that's just because of a division. Competition is much harder for Detroit or for Buffalo than it is for Detroit.
Yeah, Falcons I kind of want to put like here, maybe even like nope. There.
No, number one pick, dude.
Are you serious?
Oh yeah.
I don't agree with that.
They're bad.
They're bad. I don't think they're bad. Last year was recovery year from Matt Ryan.
I can't have Atlanta ahead of Denver and New York.
Okay.
If you want to put them between, you could put them between. Yeah, that's about right.
All right.
They're bad, dude.
Another situation where I think, like, because of how not good their division is, like, I don't know. We'll see. Okay, where do you want to put the Seahawks, Mark, since you're so high on them?
I want to put them at Super Bowl contender.
Stop it.
That's what I want to do.
I'd put them like here. Or here.
You got to put them. I think you got to put them as the top playoff team. I think they have more upside than Detroit.
The Lions and the Seahawks play each other again this season.
Yeah, and
I am looking
in
forward
Seattle,
to
right?
You think so? Yeah.
It was in Detroit last year. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing: like Seattle, Geno Smith's going to be much better than he was last year. They have probably the second or third best receiving core in football, and then you have Kenneth Walker, and you drafted another solid running back.
Yeah, but I feel like they could have done more too. I think they could have done more to address their front seven in the offseason. I mean, they got Wagner back, but he's old. So
he's the heart and soul of Seattle, man. He's the captain.
I don't know. I'm gonna keep this here. I think the Lions and the Seahawks play each other any week of the season. The Lions win. That's my thoughts on it.
I think that's one of the Lions' few losses.
Pats I'm putting as the top of the missing playoff teams because Belichick's gonna at least have them competitive. But I think that their division has escaped them. They are no longer the top dog in their division. They're not second place in their division. I don't think they're third place in their division. So,
dude, I would almost, yeah, that's about right where they belong. I mean, you have to still respect the Patriot logo, but yeah, I would almost say even lower than that.
The Browns, I'm gonna put right there.
That's fair.
Okay.
That's fair. That's where I was thinking you were going to go.
Texans. I actually think Texans could beat Cardinals. I think the Texans could beat the Raiders. I think the Texans can beat Washington, Tampa, probably the Rams, probably the Falcons. I probably would put them right here. Maybe if we want to be more pessimistic, maybe right there. They got their quarterback. They got their defensive leader. The rest of their roster ain't really that bad.
I was going to say maybe a missing playoff.
Interesting. So you're even knocking them up to this area.
Yeah, I think, listen, I really think that they got their head coach. They got Stroud, who I think is going to he's in a pretty good situation for a young quarterback. I think they're going to have one of the better running games in football. You're going to see a running game similar like what the 49ers try to do because they hired a 49ers Shanahan guy.
Okay, but you think like this team plays the Denver Broncos or the Giants, they're winning those games?
Not necessarily, but this isn't necessarily a head-to-head tier list. I mean, it's more of your product of your schedule, right? So I think that they have a better chance of being close to getting to the playoffs than Denver or New York does.
Yeah, and that's true because their division stinks. Okay,
right.
You sold me. I'll put it here.
Kansas City's an easy one.
Yeah, I wonder where we're gonna put them. I want to put them here. I want to put them here, but
Problem
they're
is
gonna
I
be right there. That's where they belong. Maybe right there.
that's just. I mean, I think they're a potential wild card.
No.
You can hate them, but you have to respect them, John. They're gonna be good. They had a good free agency. Dak's playing with vengeance. Wants to prove people wrong, like me and you. They got Tony Pollard. They got rid of Zeke, so we're not gonna have to see that fat turd carry the ball anymore.
Yeah. Dude, okay. Don't get me wrong. Ohio State, Dallas Cowboy. I'm all for some Zeke slander. His first 2 or 3 seasons.
Obviously, but he got his bag and he went to McDonald's 4,000 times. Like he got his money. Listen, he did the right thing. He got his money. He had a great early career and got paid, and he's gonna ride off into the sunset. But he's speaking of free agents, and you check out our running back vid on why that position might be broken in the league. He still's not on a team.
Yeah.
There's a lot of talented running backs just floating out there in space.
Chargers.
Contender.
Stop.
Contender.
Stop it. I'll put him like there. And
what
honestly,
in the world, you gotta put them higher.
Mark, I have been so high on the Chargers for so many years, and the best they've done is the worst playoff choke I've ever seen in my entire life.
Listen, you can't get too caught up in that one game. Justin Herbert, I think,
is a dog.
I think he has the most impressive arm in football in terms of the big throw, the launching of the ball. The throw he made when he had fractured ribs in Kansas City, okay, on that Thursday night game.
I'm a huge Herbert fan, and I love the Chargers. I love the roster.
Eckler's back. Sick. That defense, if it stays healthy, is one of the best in
Eckler wants to get traded.
But he's back. It's too late. He's going to be a Charger this year.
All right. I'll put him like there. Is that fine? Are you happy?
I'd like to see him higher, but I know you're not going to budge on him.
Jets, I'd put like here or here. And honestly,
you don't think the Jets are a contender?
No, I think they are. I think they're in win now mode, but I just don't know if they're going to pull it off. Honestly,
I mean, I think they're a contender, dude.
I think you're right. I think that roster at Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. With everything in the world to prove.
And honestly, Jets versus San Fran, I actually think Saleh would be able to beat the master. The student would be able to beat the master.
The Jets defense is tough, man. They're not easy to run the ball on.
Panthers, especially getting Breece Hall back. Dude, everybody's forgetting the first 7 weeks of the Jets run game. Holy shit, can Breece Hall play football? That dude was nuts.
Dude, they're going to be good. They're going to be good.
John,
I'm going to the Panthers, and you tell me if this is where you're thinking of putting it. I was thinking of put it between the Giants and between Atlanta in the mediocre at best column.
I was thinking of actually putting them in the missing playoff team because their division is weak, and I think that Bryce Young is in the best position you could be as a rookie quarterback, right? We've talked about this. I think like they might be like a 6 or 7 win team. That's kind of like how I view like these guys are like 6, 7, 8 wins. These guys are like 4, 5, 6. Then these guys are like under 4. You know what I mean? That's kind of where I'm at. So
yeah, it's just tough because you have 2 teams from that, that young quarterback class.
Well, yeah, but look who we haven't gotten to.
Yeah, I know.
So I would put Titans beneath them probably. I think the Titans are probably not going to have the best year.
I think they might be worse than that too.
I think the Colts might be a number 1 pick contention. Like there. Maybe there. Oh.
Yeah.
Come on.
Behind the Cardinals.
Not behind the Cardinals. I think the Cardinals are the worst. And
that's
then,
what yeah.
And then Jags, I would put as a playoff team. Like a shoe-in playoff.
Contender, dude.
Contender.
They were a contender almost last year, and they got way better. They were, I'm telling you, a unforced fumble away from being in a 3-point game with the Chiefs at Arrowhead. Trevor Lawrence is the confidence that he is just brewing Okay, learning from Doug Peterson and just getting a roster around him that's better and better each year.
Jaguars and Lions play right now. Who wins?
Jaguars.
I don't agree. I'll
I'm
put
telling
them
you,
at
they're
the
going to be
top
good,
of,
man.
To humor you, I'll put them at the top of the playoff teams. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 with 3 other wild cards that could make their way in out of this group. So I think that's fair.
Yeah,
all right.
It's fair. It's fair.
That's our list. All right. Now I want to speed run the uniforms because I just realized that signing up for 64 tier lists or 64 different like things to put in a tier list was kind of brutal. Are we doing just home jerseys then?
No, just I guess overall, like combine the scores
brand,
of
the brand,
yeah, the uniform brand,
the logo,
everything about their color scheme, their design, the history.
Before we get into this, I need to say I hate red.
Okay, red is not just throw a color out there and be like, I don't like red. Some of the best uniforms in football have red.
No, some of the best teams in football.
What if I come out and just say I don't like blue? Half these colors have red or blue in them. You got to throw your bullshit red bias out of here. Okay,
it's such a strong color, man.
Yeah, it's one of the best colors.
Whatever. Anyways,
this guy's insane. Are you kidding me? I don't like red.
It's true.
Please. I have a bias. I'm so obsessed with blue. So then how are we going to do this tier list if you're biased towards red and I just love blue so much? All my top favorite.
I love blue too.
Okay, well, that's all right. I don't actually love blue that much. I'm going to be honest here.
So
John's going to
agree
red bias.
I'm joking. Okay. All right. 49ers, they're the best red team. The bronze and the red, just with the little bit of black.
It's one of the classics.
It looks so good. And so for that reason, I'll put that in A tier for sure. I think that's 49ers. It doesn't.
Yeah, it's 49ers.
Yeah. They didn't actually. So Bucks, in the similar vein, the like metallic gray like situation they got going on is pretty cool. I'll put them in B tier.
They are bringing back that orange look too.
The creamsicle will be sweet. I'm excited.
I think it's got to be C, John. I don't think the Bucks have that good uniforms.
Okay. Hey, if you're asking me to knock the red teams down, that's fine.
Yeah, I don't think they're one of the the red.
I think this is Bears. Yeah, this is Bears.
B.
B at best.
I like the orange. I like I like their
the navy's cool.
The navy, good logo.
Bengals are icy. I would put that in S tier. All of it looks sick.
I would put Bills A.
Yeah, I'd put them in A tier.
I love their color scheme. Love their helmet.
I don't like the blue on red is one of my least favorite combinations ever. And I'm not just saying that because I hate red. I just think like they're two very strong colors that are clashing with one another.
Yeah, but the white's such a perfect
yeah. And like you can't go wrong with like making America's
red,
colors.
white, and blue.
Yeah. So Broncos, I think, are garbage. I think I don't like any of it, frankly.
Their Orange Crush uniforms were sweet.
Those were sweet, sure.
They were sweet. And I hear they might bring those back. Their current uniforms are C.
The Browns probably D tier. I mean, they don't know what logo they want to be. They just released that dog head one that kind of looks like trash. And then you're literally poop, brown, and orange as the detail. Like, I can't get behind it.
The thing with the Browns is it's so ugly that I almost like them.
No, I can't get behind it. If you were good, sure. If you're a good team and that's your brand,
say that because we already did our ranking of
no.
how good you are.
Hold on. We can say that because you're telling me the Green Bay Packers wouldn't be the worst uniforms in the league if they were a bad team.
I love their uniform.
If they were a bad team, would you be saying that?
I love their uniform, even if they're bad.
I don't agree with that. But
it's so unique. Look at all these uniforms that we have, and the Packers. There's nothing like that.
Because I have to this is Cardinals, who honestly, accounting for their uniform, probably one of the worst uniforms this year.
Yeah,
there's nothing interesting about it. I'll put it behind the Browns to make you feel better.
Yeah, it's bad.
Charges, easy, high A tier, maybe even S.
I think S.
Their shit is ice for sure.
I would almost put them ahead of Cincinnati, dude. The Chargers have the coolest color scheme in football, I think. The Bolt logo is sweet. They are great at the combinations they can do are endless with those colors. Their whites are sweet. Their blues are sick.
Yeah.
You know.
KC, see, like McDonald's colors. Like and if they weren't so good, it'd be so hard to find it.
I think they're C. I think they're C.
I'll give that.
They're
ahead of Denver, though. Ahead of
Denver. They're not.
Bucks
yeah, I mean,
versus KC. I'd say the Bucks are cooler, honestly. I mean, you got a pirate, got a skull, like kind of goes hard. All right. Colts. I used to love them, and I just feel like it's boring now. It's like they haven't done anything different with their uniforms in so long.
There's some boring uniforms that just like they're boring and you respect them because like it's just how they've always been. And the Colts are just not exciting. Like their uniform just doesn't do it for me. Just doesn't stand out in any way.
The Commanders don't have a brand because literally
they don't.
Worst stadium, no owner.
Maroon and gold. Maroon and gold's a cool combination of colors. I think you got to put them ahead of the Cardinals.
Okay, but overall, they do not have a brand.
No, but I think you almost got to put them ahead of the Browns too, John. In terms of they have a great color scheme.
Okay, so you're saying the Browns have less brand identity than the first year Washington Commanders?
No, they don't have less brand identity, but they definitely have better uniforms.
Okay.
You remember, we got to combine all these different factors.
All these factors, which that's where the discussion takes place. The Cowboys. I mean,
I like them. I do.
And here's the problem: is literally strongest brand in the NFL. So we have to respect that. Probably put them low A tier. And I don't really want to do that, but
I would say B, dude. I mean,
B?
I mean, I don't
their
know.
Logo is the most recognizable. Their uniforms don't really do anything for me, but they're kind of classic too. So
yeah,
somewhere in here, either the highest B or the lowest A is what I'll accept for that.
Miami's are sweet.
Miami's are sick. I'd put them in S tier or high A, one of the two.
I put them in S, but yeah, third in S.
Cool. Eagles are fine.
I actually really like the Eagles.
I'd put them
such a unique color, and they're bringing back the light greens.
That would be cool. I'll put them in low A tier.
Yeah, because dude, it's so you see that Eagle green, it's that's the Eagles green. You know what I mean? I don't think there is another team in the NFL where you see just a color.
A very unique, badass color scheme for sure. The Falcons, see, they've gone they're not really a red team anymore. They are a black team with red detailing. And so
I mean their uniforms suck, man.
but I'd put low C. Head of the Broncos even. I don't know.
I would almost put them in D.
Okay, I'll put them at the top of D tier.
They just don't. Even when they had their red uniforms, I didn't like them that much.
Who is this?
Which are the Giants?
Oh, it's the Giants. Okay, not memorable in my book apparently. C.
I do. I would say C.
Okay, I'm gonna go with that. Jags. Their new shit looks really cool. I'd say probably high B or low A tier.
I'd put them ahead of Chicago.
I think that's fair. New York Jets, a really, really bad color of green, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean they have that Michigan State green and white.
Yeah, and that's hard for me to like. So I'm gonna put them C. I'd put them
black.
above
their black uniforms are pretty sweet though.
The blacks go hard, and I do think
and the brand is pretty. The brand is pretty big.
So I'm gonna put them I don't know, maybe even in front of KC. Also, KC should be higher. They should be.
Yeah,
that feels right. That feels right. Okay. Honolulu blue and silver.
I don't like it, dude. Their current. I do not like their current. I do not like the current blue and silver. I liked the blue and white more, when the Stafford era. I actually liked those more. And
Okay, counter argument. Those all white away uniforms that they did a couple times were maybe my favorite uniforms of the NFL. That with the silver helmet looked so sick it wasn't even funny.
Yeah, but I don't like any of their home uniforms that they've worn in like the last 5 years.
Is this fair? Is this fair? It's unique, man. I don't think there's really any other. I think they're the best blue brand with the exception of like the Chargers, honestly. Like I really like their shit better than the Bills, frankly. It's fine. I'll settle. I think they're a B tier.
Miami's blue is better.
Miami's like a teal. I don't know if that's blue.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I just don't love the Lions uniforms. I wish because they could do so much better.
That is the thing is they have the
That's
color
the thing.
scheme
They
to
have a
the
great
sickest
color scheme, and they
uniforms.
don't do anything great with it.
Yeah, it's too safe, and so I'm gonna keep that in B tier. And I mean, one of the worst. It's tough. Their brand is being a shitty team, and it has been for a long time, and that's tough to surmise as well. Green Bay, I'd put like A tier, probably right below.
I love the Packers uniform. I really do.
Classic, just classic.
I love it. I love the logo, the cheese heads to go with the yellow helmets.
So good. I mean, talk about
So
brand,
good.
man.
Yeah.
So good. Panthers, I'd put like right here.
Yeah, I mean they do some cool stuff. Like that's
Yeah.
what the Lions should be more like. Is that
See-
like where black plays a heavier role than the light gray, and you want it like strong colors. Like gray is not a strong color. It's literally a
the
hybrid
most-
of two.
Yeah, it's
It's a hybrid of the two strongest colors.
Oh God, I agree with that. My problem is it's the same issue that I have with the Lions, where I feel like frankly they could be doing more with the uniforms color scheme wise, and they're just not. And so I don't know. Pats are the most American uniform, obviously. I mean, the red, white, and blue, and then see red and navy I can get behind. Red and blue I struggle with, and so I put them like low A tier.
I would say B, but
You put them below the Cowboys after all the
Yeah.
winning they've done and all of the.
yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. I think I'd put
Okay.
below the Cowboys.
I don't know if I agree. Raiders. I love the Raiders brand, even though I'm so annoyed and disappointed with the team. You can't beat black and white. The guy on the logo literally looks like he's about to kick your ass and just got out of a fight 5 minutes ago and is ready to fight somebody new again. So I'm gonna put him like low A
That's
tier.
such a
personally.
detailed. It's such a detailed like feeling of where that uniform takes you, but I completely back it.
Yeah,
I mean,
like
that is so accurate.
I just
That's the way to describe that.
I like seriously like, and it sucks that they're not that good because they are scary. Like the whole
But
vibe
like,
they got
imagine the
going on.
Raiders like being like an intimidating team, like
That's what I'm
the
saying.
Chicago Bears, like the Bears back when they had those defenses. Like the Bears were a brand. Like don't mess with the Bears, right? And then it's
Yeah.
like the Raiders. Like if the Raiders were good, and had like
That's-
tough.
I kind of
defensive
liked it when they were
players and,
playing
like,
on a baseball field because like then it's like you get tackled on their field and like you're getting
Plus, like
freaking
when you
the
just
worst
say
hurt.
like the Raiders, dude, like the Raiders, right? Like it's just a sick, like it's badass, dude. I think, but A might be a little high, but I'll give it to him because
we just had that long of a
the
conversation.
silver and black, yeah,
It's
I mean,
sick. Okay, unpopular opinion, or maybe
Don't
it's popular.
Don't
I
tell
don't
me
know.
you like the Rams.
No. The St. Louis Rams to the LA Rams brand refresh was one of the most disappointing things in all
Oh,
of
it's
football.
terrible. It's terrible.
I love the vibe of the St. Louis
Stop
Rams.
taking sports franchises and putting them in LA.
And just
Please.
like, what are you turning? Like, where's the brand identity? Like, the Ram doesn't exist. There's no Ram logo. It's just an LA with a horn. You're not from LA, so that's like even more annoying. And I don't like the colors. I really don't. So,
If you're a true California person and you're a football fan, you're a 49ers fan. Like,
true, yes,
unless you were down from San Diego, which then you'd be a Chargers fan, which I don't think the Chargers should have stayed in San Diego. And the Rams should have never came to LA.
I agree.
There's plenty of other places that warrant a football team that would kill to have a football team than LA. LA doesn't even want them. I mean, they don't even. Half the people that go to their games are the opposing team's fans.
Yeah, I would really like it if Austin, Texas had a football team because one, they have crazy sports fans there, and two, I think if any state in the United States is to have 3 professional football teams, it shouldn't be California. It should be
Texas.
Texas.
It should not be California.
So, Ravens are badass.
Purple
front
and
to
gold.
back. The purple,
but again,
and then
that's
like,
one. But that's one of those teams that I think could do better.
have you been to their stadium?
No.
It feels like you're entering a graveyard, and then they have Edgar, Allan, and Poe as their 3 mascots that are all just freaking Ravens. And they're all
I mean, it's Ravens flock is cool and all that, but
yeah,
I think don't you think that they could do way more?
I think they could, but
they're all black is sweet.
Yeah, like it's black, purple, and gold. Like that's pretty hard to mess up. Like you just got to not mess it up, you know. So I'm still
their logo kind of sucks. The Raven logo.
It's a little bit corny, but I've also seen like the front-facing Raven logo, and that doesn't do much for me either. So, look, maybe you disagree. I think Saints are S tier to the max. Like I think their logo is super sick. The fleur-de-lis, like it's so all of it. The bronze.
No, it belongs exactly where you put it.
Good. I'm happy with that. Seahawks, it's so weird because like the neon green when we were in 8th grade
was so
made
sick.
them the coolest uniforms, and every additional year since 8th grade, I'm like, these are super.
I hate it. Yeah,
and also like, and maybe this was on purpose. I don't know.
The modern, like I feel like they have the most modern looking uniforms, like futuristic. Like if we fast forward 20 years,
trying too hard to look modern.
And now other teams are starting to copy them, but like they have kind of been the first to do that, and a lot of people I feel like jumped on that bandwagon because right when they started doing that, they were winning, and you know they have the Legion of Boom and all that stuff. I don't really their colors are sweet, but they do too much neon. And just like they change their uniforms up too much.
That's
right. Like there's no consistency.
Yeah. And honestly, so here's another thing that used to drive me nuts.
But they are cool to look at.
I don't think they do them anymore, but there's, you know how like when you have like an image without a background on it on like your computer or your phone or whatever, and there's like just like that black and white like checkered thing in the background to suggest that there isn't a background. I swear to God, there was a spell for a while where that was the actual pattern they used on their numbers on the jerseys. And I got so mad looking at it most of the time because I was like, okay, first you're hitting me with this lime green, and now you have like this backgroundless PNG looking thing on your numbers. This is just too much is going on. It's literally like an 8th grader designed it. They're like, use the coolest colors and ideas you can think of.
In 8th grade, dude, if you had like the neon Nike Elites and like the neon, like, dude, you got ass. You know what I mean? Like that was as simple as that. That was as simple as that. That's all you needed back then.
Steelers is classic, so I can't put it any lower than B.
So classic, but it's got to be in the A vocal. Damn it! The Steelers uniform is
you sounded like your dad there.
Black and gold, black and yellow with the one side logo and the other side no logo. Oh my God. So classic. They haven't changed their uniform like ever.
I'll put it like there, ahead of Ravens even, but behind Raiders.
I think it's got to be ahead of Raiders, dude.
Who is this?
The Texans.
That looks black rather than like that dark navy they have on my screen. I was like, damn. Honestly, out of all the red, white, and blue teams, they're easily the least memorable, and I don't.
Yeah, it's also like they're the newest, and
hey,
if it was still the Houston Oilers, they'd be in S
way higher, way higher.
Yeah, but they messed that up. And...
Which, on the same note, I think Titans go right next to them for that reason.
Yeah,
like all right, and then Vikings are sick. I can't even lie. I would put them like right out of Ravens.
Yeah.
I feel very good about this. I actually think we knocked this one out of the park.
This might be spot on. I think some people have issues with the Cowboys being in B. I think, dude, I think there's one of these teams, John, in A that need to go up to S. And it could be your pick, honestly, between the 49ers, the Eagles, and the Steelers. But I think one of those three's got to be an S
But
because, dude, those are such iconic.
Yeah, I instantly wanted to put the 49ers in when you didn't even say anything else. Just say one of these teams should be an S. I put 49ers there.
I think that's more accurate. I mean,
that's
they belong
acceptable.
there.
Yeah. All right. Also, I might put the Eagles above the Bills.
The Eagles are it's such a unique green, dude. I'm telling you, it's sweet.
And Green Bay above the Bills. Like, I just think the Bills are too high.
All right, okay. I'll let you do that if you put the Steelers ahead of the Bills and Raiders.
I do this. I can't put the Raiders any lower than the Steelers.
Oh, you can't put the Steelers ahead of the Raiders? The Steelers are like the brand.
Yeah.
Steel curtain. Their logo's sweet. Black and yellow. Terrible towel. I mean, come on.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, the Yinzers got a brand, that's for sure. And
totally.
They're right at that. All right, so you guys,
that's it.
For this episode, you guys got 45 minutes of talking to Shane Boris, which was an awesome guest.
Awesome interview.
And then you got two, not one, but two
tier lists.
Two tier lists. You should be thankful for it that you guys got to witness us ranking all 32 NFL teams, both in football play and brand and uniform. So I think
I want to hear what people have to say. Like, get in the comments. You know what I mean? Shame us if we're wrong on uniforms.
Honestly, I'm gonna screen cap both of these. We'll throw them up on our Twitter too, and maybe do some TikTok stuff and get some debate started about it.
Yeah, I mean, I want to hear what people have to say because I think we kind of hit it pretty spot on.
I personally think so. But that's the beautiful part about the internet is we can think we're the smartest people on earth.
John,
there's going to be one.
I have my movie of the week that I watched.
What movie did you watch? I don't, but it's fine.
The Super Mario Bros. Actually, pretty good.
I was gonna say, I heard it was like more geared towards kids, so I didn't take the time to watch it.
It is, but it's also like nostalgic to be like watching like all these characters you played with when you were like a little kid, and Mario Party and Mario Kart and like Super Smash Bros.
I gotta say too, like easily best video game soundtrack of all time. Like that main theme is not only incredibly iconic, but like incredibly like musically interesting. Like there's a lot of cool shit going on with it.
Yeah, I mean I think everything about like the Mario world is just it's done right. And it's so big, dude. Like the funny thing is like you can watch that movie. Like my little sister is 11 years old. She watched the movie, loved it. I'm going to be 25 soon. Loved it. My parents watched it, loved it. I think my parents' could watch it and love it because it's just like it's been a part of just history. I mean, in the video game world and just like the culture world, like Mario is, Mario and Luigi when you see those two Italian little turds with the freaking red and green, like you just know it,
which is hilarious because like nothing about Mario even makes sense. And yet everything just feels like everything around the world building of it, like totally feels like it's supposed to be how it is. So,
yeah.
All right. I like that. I just finished, and I don't know, maybe I'm revealing something about myself that I shouldn't be, but just got done watching most recent Demon Slayer season because, back when I was in middle school, if it was, known that you liked anime, you would get bullied, but now cool people like anime. And I just missed that. I was setting a trend.
I think it's still like those like edgy, like kind of off the grid, weirder people that like anime, but it's becoming more mainstream.
It depends on, which anime, right? Because there's some weird anime out there. I mostly stick with like the very mainstream like Naruto goes hard, right? You got like the little red clouds of the villains from Naruto, the Akatsuki goes hard. Jamal Williams, right? Love the fact that he just get up there and he's like, you want to talk about anime for an entire media session? I got you. Like, that's just what we'll do.
What's your opinion on like the X-rated anime?
You mean hentai?
I don't know. I just know you probably search it a lot in your Google search.
Yeah, all the time. Fun fact, Samuel L. Jackson actually apparently proudly watches a lot of hentai. So along with being
I bet you Jamal Williams does too.
Probably. Whatever you're into, man. You're allowed to be. So
I suppose.
I guess, yeah. Anyways, I think it on a weird note. I just wanted to talk about, a new Demon Slayer season, but Mark had to take it in a weird direction.
I had to take it there. I mean, how do you not ask that question?
How do you not ask that question? Mark, cartoons exist.
Well, I hear anime and I just think freaks.
Okay, well, that's again. You're probably still living in middle school. You were probably the kid that was bullying kids for watching anime.
I did. I think I did bully you.
Probably
on that matter.
Oh no, I wasn't telling anybody about that back in the day. Also, I was scared to tell people about the fact that I played Minecraft in middle school, which that was a mistake. Again,
and Minecraft is huge now.
Yeah, it's freaking massive. It's absolutely massive, and I still proudly play that shit as an adult every once in a while. Not anymore, but man, I had some good servers going on back in college. It went pretty nuts.
I'm sure you did.
So, yeah, I'm an artiste with nothing but just square blocks. All right. Anyways, I was trying to close the episode out with some fun conversation. Mark had to take it in a weird spot, but we will see you guys next week. And also ignore the Discord link on. Oh wait, no, I haven't switched that yet. We're gonna start a Discord soon, in the next couple of weeks. I already switched some of our branding to represent that. So if you see that and it doesn't exist yet, my bad. I'll get around to it pretty soon. Practice Squad is hiring. We just haven't gotten to the other side of that hiring process yet. So bear with us for a couple weeks. A lot of new stuff coming down the pipeline. We're incredibly stoked about the season getting rolling. But in the meantime, if you want to support us, follow us on all our shit. Check out some merch.
Division previews coming in the next few weeks. Fantasy football position breakdowns previews coming in the next few weeks. If you want to win your fantasy football league, John and I both first place last year in our respective leagues.
Winners.
So look no further than here. Not saying we're experts, but we both did come in first place in our leagues last year. So you do the math.
Yep. Till next time. Peace.
Till next time.